Hello everybody, Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. Live edge oak processing take 2. I've got this big slab of oak with a Y in it, so where the trunk starts going wider and wider and wider, and I'm going to cut this open on the chainsaw mill. Last night we had a thunderstorm come up when I started. I got this on here, I got it secured, and the rain hit hard, really hard. So I had to cover it up and put my tools away, and I'm happy I did because I made it just in time. So I'm going to run this and cut some nice thick slabs off this and see what it looks like inside. Alright, I got the first little bit open, and you can see an absolutely beautiful pattern of grain in here. Beautiful pattern. Look at that in a different light. Oh, look at the colors and the pattern in that. Wow. So I'm gonna cut the next piece thicker. I think we're ready to go thick now because I got the bark off. Now we're going to get into the live edge slab. So I'm going to cut a couple down to the heartwood. Well, it's really hard to say where the heartwood is here. I'm just going to slab this out to about 2-inch pieces and have a look at it. Had to pause, my gas was leaking. I got a leaky cap. So let's try it again. It's an old saw. Alright, there's the slab. It's got an interesting pattern in there. Well, it's going to be so beautiful when it's sanded. Look at all the swirls. Different colors. There's different holes. Little rot spot there. There's an interesting pattern here between the two. Where the two branches joined. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. Look at the grain coming through here. I think I fixed my leak. I put a nail in a vent hole. Something had come loose inside with age, and it was venting out. Look at this slab. Hold on, let me brush it off. Isn't that just beautiful? The color and the pattern in there. That is incredible. It'll be interesting to see how this dries, if it splits here or not. I might try to put something in here, staple it or something so it doesn't split up too bad here in the middle. Is that all the way through? Let's see. See, that'll be an end table. My vision for this already is to make an end table. Wow, look at this is almost a more pretty side. Wow. Look at the green on that side. That's absolutely beautiful. Look at the ribs coming out of there. Wow. Tell me what you think, guys, on that slab. I'll cut the next one off and we'll talk about them in the end. But oh, that's beautiful. So I'm going to set up another 2-inch cut. I'll probably get 3 slabs out of this before I hit bottom. I can't go any further. But we're going to have 3 good slabs with this interesting pattern of the 2 pieces combined. Now we're getting into the thicker slab now. So this is going to be even bigger. But you can see it's a nice size. It's good 2 hand widths. And I think it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. And we'll process it and prepare it. So got some really cool and exciting stuff coming up in the next years with this mill. We'll give you a different angle this time. Wow, look at that. You never know what you're going to get into with these live edge slabs. Something big was in here eating away, burrowing a chamber. Big hole in here. The crack is more pronounced between the 2 pieces the deeper in I went, which surprises me. I didn't expect it to be so pronounced in there. This is definitely a thicker, it goes from here down to here. I'll get a tape here. It's definitely a thicker piece. We've got 18 inches on down to 12 inches. So so it's an interesting shape. And then I cut it off the log at 31 inches, which I think that's a fair sized end table if you're considering a live edge like that. Nice slab. I think that's a nice size. I hope that when this cures it doesn't split, so I'm going to try to put that somewhere where it slow cures. I don't want to see that break open. I set the camera down and flip that over. Now here you got some beautiful patterns. A little less worm damage on this side. There's where the exit hole is. Another little hole. A little bit more solid meat here than on the other side. So right here you almost got two separate branches right here coming together. There's even some moss in there from where it grew back in the day. So there's your tree bark from the two separate ones. I might have to epoxy that one day and fill that up with some epoxy, prevent that from splitting. But it's a very beautiful slab. Now this one over here is starting to dry a little bit and showing some more colors and details. Oh, look at that pattern. Wow, look at that pattern in that wood. This is what a chainsaw mill is all about. How beautiful, how unique. You can't get anything like that from the shop. And then there's the bottom. I would call this one the bottom. The actual beauty is in the other section. I think that right there is just unbelievable, that pattern. Absolutely beautiful pattern. Look at that. I can't wait to get working on this one. Now over here, I'll have to look at that later. Once that surface starts to dry, we'll start to see some different colorations and patterns too. So, alright, I'm going to set up for the final cut. We're going to hit the clamps down here. I think I might be able to get a 2-inch slab out of there. Let me see. Yeah, I might just get to shave by with another 2-inch chunk off this piece. You know, this was destined for the firewood pile, and I decided to save it and open it up, and oh, I'm so happy I did. Incredible. Alright, I've got the machine gas and oiled up. I'm lowered down as far as I can go, and I'm going to give you another cut from a different angle and get that last piece out of here. Alright, that slab wasn't as thick. Get in there with my camera. I hit bottom on the mill on this one. So you got some darker colors on this piece. I think everybody's personal preference is going to vary about what they prefer to have, but there's some different, way different colors on here. Dark. This here does worry me. I'm not sure because there's two distinct branches here. So we're going to have to see how that works out. Let me flip that over. Okay, now here we do have, again, it joins to be a solid piece. So it's two distinct branches on one side. On the other side it joins up and becomes solid. So if this doesn't split too bad, it'll should be alright. We'll see. I really like the pattern on the bottom. We're getting back into solid meat again. I love the pattern here. And you could get another 2-inch slab out of that. It won't be as wide, but I might one day try to screw this onto a board and see if I can get, actually I could flip this over and run it on the mill and take off the top. I could flip it over and make it flat. I could do it now in the settings I've got now, actually. I could cut it and get those edges off, those bumps. I'm going to do that. I'm going to flip this over and see what I can do with that. Because that's so beautiful, that wood. Now over here, we're starting to dry a little and starting to see more patterns in the wood. Look at that. So, I'm going to set this up and make one more cut. Now these two are about the same thickness. I did two 2-inch slabs. Okay, this one wasn't quite 2 inches. 1 3/4, 1.5 inches. I got 1.5 inches out of that. So it's an actual 2x dimensional lumber size. But by the time I'm done sanding and planing, this will probably be 1 3/4 inches. And that might be, who knows, I don't think I'll get that much off of it. It might be 1 1/4 inches, 1 3/8. We'll see how it looks, but it's definitely big. It'll make a nice tabletop for an end table. Alright, I'm going to flip that over and set it up for another round, see what happens. My saw is no longer leaking. I just literally drove a nail in the cap where it was shooting out gas. I'm not sure how this is going to work. It slips right down in here. It's really heavy and holding itself in place, so I'm not sure. I can't get the dogs in. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Try it. If it starts to give me trouble or bind, then I won't go any further. Let's see what happens here. If I can shave that off and make a flat edge, I can screw a 2x4 onto that. Shallow screws, and maybe get another piece off that. Okay, now if I'm careful with some shallow screws, I might be able to put a 2x4 into that, or bigger, I mean a 2x6 or a 2x8 on the bottom of that, so I can clamp down the 2x8 or the log with a 2x8 on it. Let me see what I can figure out. If I can raise that up, secure it to the board. So I'm going to do some experimenting. Alright, let me show you my idea here. I've got a 2x8 that'll sit on the rails. Now I flip this over so I can get an idea what I'm looking at. the board is still, forgive me, I'm on the wrong side, 3 1/4 inches thick over here at the thickest. If I screw the 2x6 onto here, I can still take a 2-inch slab off and have 1 1/4 to spare. The 2x6 is 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. 1 1/2 plus 1 1/4, that's 2 1/4, 2 3/4 inches. I've got 3-inch screws. I'd prefer to have 2 1/2 inch screws. I think I'm going to look for some 2 1/2 inch screws so I don't risk going through. But my idea is put this board on the bottom side of this. This will be the bottom. Flip it over, clamp it in, and I can get another 2-inch slab out of that. Alright, I've got some 2 1/2 inch screws. Alright, so 2 1/2 inches is only going to put me 1 inch into my wood, which gives me my 1/4 inch to spare. I'm definitely not going to want to sink it in too far. This is still a heavy piece of wood. I gotta take these nails out. Unless I can get them to fit around the framing of this. Let me see. Yeah, it'll be alright. So we got meat here and here to fasten this to. I've never done such a thing, so this is just a pure experiment, guys. See if we can do this and get another 2-inch piece out of this beautiful wood. Right here. Because then the rest will just be scrap. I do not want to sink in. I want to stop right there. Okay. And a third one right here. Go here. Okay, that's it. Now, it's going to be quite heavy. I've got to flip this over and get it in here, secure it in place on the mill. Okay. Now, if I've done my calculations correct, put this dead center, then we should have another 2-inch slab out of this thing. I got it sharp in my chain after this. I can see it's getting thinner. The powder coming off, it's getting thinner. Okay, I'm just going to leave that run and we'll cut it. Let me widen the view a little. We'll cut this. Hope this works out. Now, I've got to raise this back up to 2 inches. I almost forgot, huh? We're down to 3. At this point, we'd be cutting our screws. Too far. A little bit more. Go a little bit more. I want to get my 2 inches out of that. There we are. There's 2 inches out of that. And just to double check, I should hopefully have between there and the blade, I've got just over 2.5 inches, 2 5/8. So I should be okay. There was 2.5 inch screws. I don't want to hit that. It's just over 2.5. I'm going to come up a crank. Now we're at almost 2 3/4. We should be okay and shouldn't hit those screws now. Alright, I'm going to fire this up and we'll get cutting. Look at that. This is all that was left for waste. This tiny little piece. And even that's not necessarily waste. I could probably use that for something. Here you got some really amazing little swirls and grain in there. Now here's the other side. I flipped it over and set it up here. That's what's left. So we started getting into the outer, the curve of the tree here. I say it could have cut a little bit further. I can hit that with a chisel. I'll probably cut them ends off later anyway. So that's, on this one, that'll probably be the bottom edge of this piece. Although look at that patterns right in there. I'm not sure. Once that dries and I get it sanded a little bit, the beauty of it itself might make me want to keep that. Look at the circular patterns in that. So there's the other side. Again, you got some really nice wood grain, different patterns, different directions in here. You still got the ribs on this side and a very solid chunk of wood on this one. Very solid piece of wood. So nearly 2 inches. So there you go, guys. Let me lay them all out here. I'll be right back. Well, there you have them, guys. 4 beautiful thick slabs off a piece that was going to be burnt in the wood stove. They were destined to be firewood, and a little tiny slab. Still over 1 inch thick, so it might be useful for something. Now let's have a look at the bottom side. That side is pretty ugly. Really rough. We'll see what it looks like once it cures. I don't know what I'll do with that. Might be nice for a wall hanging of some kind, just because of the patterns in it. And then there was the last full slab. The only reason I was able to get that is by putting it on here. So I got a whole thick slab, just under 2 inches, just because I did that trick by screwing it down to a board. I'm happy I tried that. I just made that up on my own, that idea. There you have a nice lip there on the live edge. Makes it unique. Gives these slabs their unique character. There's another. Normally you toss water on these to bring out the grain and the appearance, but these were sopping wet when I opened them. Look at that. I think this is showing more character as it dries. This one here, the grain is rising up as it dries. It's becoming very distinct on this one. Just incredible. This is my favorite piece right here. Absolutely incredible. Now again, oh, that's a heavy one. There's the other side as it starts to dry. But I do think that that's my favorite of this one. If I was to make a piece for myself, that would be the top on this one. Really amazing. just having a look at these. Let you have a look on the camera at the pattern and the grain on these now. And the last one that I cut. They're really wet inside. I was told oak doesn't really dry until you cut it open. So now it's got a chance to cut open. Alright guys, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful work on the mill. That's what it's all about. Live edge slabs. So those will be end tables later on. Probably next year, because I'll have to cure throughout the winter. Alright guys, this is Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. Please like, subscribe, and share. Follow our daily videos as we strive to become fully self-sufficient and off the grid on a budget. Lumber mill is definitely going to help towards self-sufficiency, providing some income and help us build our own stuff. Talk to you later, guys.